Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nerdy for 30, podcast where we talk about nerdy-ish movies for 30-ish minutes. My name is Kevin Bauer, a.k.a. the Critic's Choice. With me, as always, is the People's Champ, Tim Keck. And today, we are talking about the Super Mario Brothers movie, released on April 5th, to critical indifference and enthusiastic audience acclaim. Tim, what did you think about this movie?
I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty much exactly what I thought it was going to be. You know, it was fun. It wasn't great. It was good. I had a nice time. We saw it with some people. It was fun. It was just a nice, pleasant trip. I'm not sure I agree with like the 96, audience score. I know I'm the people's champ, but that is steep. That is high praise. But if you're just looking for fun, go have a good time. It's cool. It's chill. Mario, whatever, man. They're nice. It's fun.
You know what, man? Sometimes that's the people's champ's role, is to rein everybody in when they're off base. I think 96 is pretty aggressive for this, but you got to remember too, the Rotten Tomatoes is just a binary measure. It's that insane metric of a percentage of how many of them were binary good versus binary bad. And I do definitely think this was a good movie. It crossed the threshold. It was fine to watch. I would very much enjoy watching this again when my niece turns 5,
Yeah, I think it's probably getting so much hype because parents are excited to take their kids to it. Mm-hmm. And it's a great family movie. Everyone can enjoy it. We enjoyed it. Kids will enjoy it. It's great. I was surprised, and I do this with Marvel stuff, but I was surprised how protective I was of the Nintendo IP.
Really?
The whole time I'm like, is this really what Mario is? Is this what Mario's character would be doing? And I'm like, shut the fuck. In my head, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't care about this. You don't care about Mario that much. Like, yeah, I played Kart. I played Smash Bros. And I even played that Mario game that came out for the Switch where he throws his hat around. And I can still say I'm somewhat indifferent to Mario, but seeing him on the screen, I'm like, wow, that's the thing I knew. I just felt so baited, Mm-hmm. Anytime anybody's like, they just like make a pop culture reference, it's like something you knew or like pandering. It just felt like this whole thing was weird pandering. And I'm surprised how much I was into it, man. I was like pumped when I saw Yoshi in the background. I was like, fuck yeah, dude, this is cool. Oh, there's Donkey Kong. Oh man, he's on fire. Did that actually happen in the video games? Did it not? Like, why is this canonical? Wow, do they actually have a game where like Mario runs ahead and opens stuff for Luigi to follow him through? I was like, just really breaking it down in my head instead of just sitting back and enjoying the show,
Just shitting bricks out there, dude. It was weird to see them make choice about Mario this deep into the game of Mario being a character. It's absolutely absurd that they didn't have more Mario content earlier. I know they had that cartoon in the 80s where they had, what was the dude, Bob Hoskins? No, Bob Hoskins played him live action in the 93 movie, I think. But there was also that animated cartoon. Did you ever see the animated series where it opened with live action dudes and they're just like dumpy 40-something guys playing Mario and Luigi in like a set that looks like the backstage area of All That? Just like, hey, Luigi, what are we gonna do today? And then it would like cut to cartoons of Mario and Luigi. It was very similar to the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon from the early 90s where they're just taking big swings with the character. And obviously none of that really stuck. And then we were left with kind of a blank slate for the character again, because Mario doesn't like do much. He's a man of few words, with the exception of the RPG games that he's in, but those are basically, like multiverse Elseworld things anyway. It's kind of like a comedic take on the whole thing. But the mainline Mario from Mario 64 and Odyssey, he didn't really say anything. It's like Link.
It's just, there's Princess Peach needs to be rescued or Bowser's doing something bad. And that's it. Then you got to stop Bowser. And then you go to different places. You jump on different things. And that's it. That's all the story I had. Did you like that they are human beings from essentially our world? And then they just get sucked in a tube and now they're in Toad Paradise or whatever it is, the Toad Kingdom.
Tim, I'm so glad you asked that because I fuck with that hard, dude. My favorite thing about this movie is probably everything they did with the quote unquote real world. I really, really loved it. It hits in that kind of like grown man child in a grimy inner city vibe that you get from the 90s Ninja Turtles movies and from Ghostbusters, where it's just this kind of cartoony version of New York City. And I really dug it. And I think it's an interesting way to lock in this idea of that question of who the hell is Mario? Where did he come from? Why is he a person when he's surrounded by mushrooms? The idea that he and technically also Princess Peach are human beings that live in this world clears a lot of stuff up for me.
I guess so. I guess it makes sense. The parts with him at the kitchen table with his family, or like the dining table with his family, and they're all eating spaghetti together with like mushrooms in it. I was like, we need to wrap this up. I was like, this is kind of bumming me out, you know? Like, I get it. His family views him as like a low life, and then he goes and proves them all wrong at the end. But I kind of hate that arc. I kind of hate it. Like, why do you need to prove yourself to these people? You know, who cares what they think? You should prove it to yourself, you know, and maybe he did. They do along the way, and then their parents. But I guess I just don't give a shit about guy who is still living with his parents, getting lectured by them at the table while eating pasta in an Italian family. Maybe I just don't respect Italians. I don't know. Maybe that's an important part of their culture.
About you.
Yeah. But I don't know. Wasn't my favorite part of the thing. I was like, get to the stuff. Like once Toad showed up, I was like, all right, we're doing it.
Man, I want to clarify. The fact that Mario couldn't impress his dad wasn't what I liked about that. That whole storyline can take a long hike off a short pier. I don't want to see that ever again. But I really did like seeing Mario's roots. I want to see where this guy came from. I would be remiss if Super Mario Bros. The movie 2 comes out. We don't see this cartoony Brooklyn again. Because I don't know, man, it really worked for me. It takes it back to like all the weird arcade history of all these games where you had all the classic old Nintendo games. Like I think maybe the original Mario Bros. Was an arcade game where you go through and it's just kind of the one where it's the planks across the top and there's pipes on the side and you and Luigi are just kind of trying to not get hit by the spiky shell things. All these things, maybe it's the black background with the colors popped on top of it. But something about that dark video game inevitably being played in the like dimmest corner of a pizza joint, it just had that feel to it. It like, I think that's what's hitting me is that it felt like the pizza place that I used to play these ancient arcade games.
Yeah, I get that. It does kind of tap into some nostalgia. I feel like it opens up just more questions than answers, though. You know, they take a tube from the real world to the Toad Kingdom, but along the way, Luigi takes a tube that goes to, I guess, Bowser's house, or like they do like a nod to Luigi's mansion there. Yeah. You know, I was hoping to see his vacuum, I guess, because I remember that being a thing from the game. I was suddenly so invested. Luigi's Mansion, by the way, a game I haven't played. I just know it exists. And I was like, they better fucking do Luigi's Mansion right. I'm like, I want that flashlight. I want the I think he has a vacuum in it.
Poltergeist.
I was like, oh man, they better do they better do this justice. And I was like, I didn't even play this game. Chill out, Tim. I don't know why I was so invested. But so there's a tube that connects all these places. And I guess it's a one-way. There's really only one connection maybe from Toad. No, I don't really know what I'm saying. I guess the whole premise, like the whole clock they have to beat in this is that Bowser is heading to the Toad Kingdom. He's heading to the Toad Kingdom the entire movie. But there's tubes that connect all the kingdoms.
Right.
So why can't he just tube there? Does he not know about the tubes? Or the tubes just a weird mystery?
Well, actually, I was going to say he can't put his whole fortress in a tube. And then I remembered that the climax of the movie is them putting his whole fortress in a tube. Exactly.
So why couldn't he have just done that?
Yeah, it's a pretty big plot hole. You know, I don't think it's that kind of movie, though. I don't think it's that kind of movie where, I mean, the plot didn't really matter in this, did it? Like, For the most part,
No.
this is just a fun, colorful movie where you turn your brain off and you see people be like mildly antagonistic to each other for a tight 90 minutes, a beautifully palatable 90 minutes on this thing.
Perfect.
You love to see it. The lights came up. This was the second half of a double feature, and the lights came up. And after like 4 collective hours of movie, I was like, that's it? Like, great one. Highly recommend to end a double feature.
That's part of it too. Short and sweet. Got to add some points for that.
Yeah. I really do want to lock back in on the whole characterization. You saying that you really desperately want them to like correctly pay homage to these, like, I don't know, these things from the games, this iconography that you've seen in the past. I think that is directly attributed to the fact that we don't see Mario talk very much. I think the same thing would happen with the Link game because these characters are kept blank so that they can be surrogates for the player and so that they're not necessarily going to do something that the player wouldn't do, which is something we talked about a lot with The Last of Us, where there are a lot of choices made in that game that Joel makes that you are forced to make as the player that you may or may not feel pretty emotionally conflicted over. Mario and Link, they're just there for you so that they're your proxy in that world. It was something like Cuphead, where Cuphead came out, I think like 2016 or 17. And the Cuphead cartoon went into production pretty much immediately and hit Netflix, I think by like 2021. There wasn't that long of a time that the character Cuphead was in existence and people were growing fond of him before he was given this persona that is going to stick with him. And now, having watched the cartoons, it gives me a better appreciation for the Cuphead game because I'm like, that's Cuphead. But
are you a big Cuphead guy?
I mean, yeah, the cartoon's really good. Season 2 specifically is really good.
I just found it so creepy. Like I watched like the first couple and they're like trying to get his soul back from the devil. And I'm like, oh, why is this so scary?
Yeah,
just
man,
chill. Why can't the Cupheads be fun? Something about them just turns me off a little bit.
It's like dark fun. It's like Ren and Stimpy fun.
Yeah, I never liked Ren and Stimpy. Never liked Ren and Stimpy. Never liked Beavis and Butthead. They just like were too weird looking. You know, I thought it was gonna be too dark and weird, and just wasn't my cup of tea. I like things like Mario, simple, bright colors, plot holes. That's what I want for my entertainment. I'm sorry to interrupt you. What were you saying about?
Man, that's
Cupheads?
it. It's like this is just. I think they threaded the needle really well. I think they managed to take something that was a big risk. And they managed to find something that was, it felt true to the character. Do you think this did a better job of being true to the Mario character than the Sonic the Hedgehog movies did for Sonic?
No.
No?
I think the Sonic character, it's so simple, it's nice, it's easy, whatever. I think some of the stuff in this movie, like the Marios being plumbers in New York City, I don't know if I need that. I don't care about it. The Sonic thing, I didn't even think about it. For whatever reason, I wasn't worried about the IP because all of it felt like somehow just so much more seamless in a way. Maybe I just don't have the same attachment to Sonic. I don't think I do. And I don't even know what I'm looking for, right? Because I think you're right. The movies and the TV shows, like for Cuphead, like for this movie, like for the Sonic movie, are putting personalities onto the blank canvas that we recognize and have been using for years and years and years. And that's a big risk in a way. So it generally is done in like kind of like a, I don't know, mild midway. I thought the kingdom was cool. I mean, I liked seeing Toad. I liked seeing all the Toads. Peach was very cool. It was very fun. The power-ups, I don't know if I really understood how the power-ups worked. I think even when they explained them, it seemed kind of like, okay, whatever. Like, we'll just let it go. And then when Donkey Kong got the fire one, I was like, I've never seen Donkey Kong use a power-up. Does Donkey Kong use power-ups? Maybe he does. Maybe that's just the way it is now. So I felt very protective of this thing that I don't know if I actually have a real attachment to, but it was weird. To your thing with that, like putting a characterizing like a palette we've been using forever. Jack Black as Bowser, incredible.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's so amazing. It made Bowser like a fleshed out character in a way where he's an antagonist and also like a fun character to see and hang out and like a perfect kid's villain. And I really only associate Bowser with being that like one-dimensional turtle, you know, that like jumps up and down in that like Nintendo and whatever, like the first Nintendo game series where you have to run to the right forever. Like that's it. And all of a sudden it's Jack Black's singing about how much he loves Princess Peach. And it's cool. It's chill. It's fun. They have great comedy in it. He's still scary at the end. It's neat. It's neat. They crushed it with him.
He was so good, dude. He made that character. I understand Bowser now based on the take of Bowser from this movie.
It feels like I don't want to say Jack Black got to do whatever he wanted, but they were definitely like, let's let the man cook. You know, he knows what he's doing. He's been here before. It's not his first animation voiceover rodeo. He's ready to roll. I love that he's been showing up to like every interview where he was showing up to every red carpet in like Bowser outfits. Yeah. I saw he went on Kelly Clarkson, like just dressed as Bowser, like in a Kid Bowser outfit. And she was asking him like, so are you excited about playing Bowser? I'm like, this is great. This is gold. Jack Black's amazing. We all need more Jack Black in our lives, I think. Did you think the Peaches song was a banger the first time you heard it?
No, I didn't hate it, but I was fine on it. There were kids in our theater and they were laughing and I was like, cool. Like, this is great. They're loving it. You know, people, I would say the kids in our theater fucking loved this movie. Like, they seemed really stoked on it, right?
Yeah, I believe it. I think they're into it. It's got a nice arc to it. All the power-ups are fun. The abilities are cool. I mean, some of the jokes in it are great. It's awesome. Yeah, I don't know if I thought the Peaches song was I don't know if I still think it's a banger. Feels like people are really hyping it up like it's going to win an Oscar or something. Yeah. And I don't know, but it is an earworm. That's been like, I've definitely caught myself just like thinking about it a lot. Probably too much. And you know, that's probably what you want from one of these like kids movies anyway, you know. It was cool, it was chill. The power-ups, very neat. I don't know if I was familiar with the cat one. I don't know if I'd seen it before. But what do you think about the power-ups in general? You know? Not really too many surprises, but how'd you think about them executing them?
I thought it was good. I don't think we saw him get the red mushroom where he gets really big. Well, I guess that's a different one. That's like the giant mushroom. Yeah, I don't know the extent to which I'm definitely not an expert in all the Mario power-ups over the years. I've used the cat one. We got one of the games that had originally been on like Wii U, I think. They re-released it for the Switch. And we got that a couple summers ago and we're playing through it. And it's super fun. Cat power-up's great. I thought it was kind of weird to feature that power-up so prominently in this movie. It felt like they got a lot of airtime for that one. And like, I guess there's like an ice flower. I've never seen that before. It felt like there were maybe a couple other ones. Like I seem to remember there was one you get where Mario got massive, like huge, like giant man size was stomping around. But maybe I'm wrong on that. So I don't know. I feel like it's the same. I have the same take I do for the plot holes where it's like, I don't think I need to know. I'm happy with this being exactly what it is. To a certain extent, I think this movie just kind of needed to happen already. It just kind of needed to be here. We needed to start having the Nintendo stuff on screen. I wonder if that wall is going to kind of break down for better or worse, where so many adaptations of comic books and video games thus far have spent so many pages collectively trying to convince us that there's a realistic way that Steve Rogers can be super strong. And it's like, well, no, there's actually vitamin injections that went into his muscles. And then he was powered up by UV rays that activated the vitamins in his muscles. I think we're getting to a point where the barrier of entry is going to be the same that it is for a cartoony video game or a cartoony comic book, where it's just like, yeah, you know, there's turtles that fly here. We're not going to explain it. I don't necessarily think you always have to, especially when it's something like Mario, where it's explicitly a kid's movie.
Yeah, I guess you don't. I want, with like any magic thing, I just want the rules. I just want to know what the rule. And they tell you the rules, right? She's like, you get big, and once you get hit, you lose it. And it's like, cool, I get that. That's great. But how do you have an infinite number of these? And why aren't they taking them all the time? Yeah. Why isn't Mario just always big then? He should be going through the movie big. That's kind of what you do, right? You get a mushroom, you get big, you play through the game, you get a fire power up. Why isn't he just walking around with the fire power up? You know, how long is there other things, but they last really long or whatever? I mean, I don't know. It just, part of me is like, you get fire. As soon as you get one of these, you ride it out for as long as you can in the games. So some part of me was like, they should be doing this. They should be walking around with fire powers. You know, I don't know. I'm too invested in this thing that I guess I don't really care about that much. But,
you are like passively passionate about this.
Yeah, very laid back. I'm not losing sleep over it. But if I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I want protect this stuff. You know, I'm not sure exactly why. Yeah. Do you think it feels like when we talked to Brian about the Dungeons and Dragons show, the Dungeons and Dragons movie, he was talking about how it was kind of a flex from what is it? It's not Wizards of the Coast. Is that Dungeons and Dragons?
I think it is. Yeah. I think
it is Wizards of the Coast.
I think they're one of the people that control it now. Yeah.
Well, how Dungeons and Dragons, the movie, was kind of a flex of all their IP, and they're labeling things. They're saying that we have owlbears, we have this, we have all of this stuff, and kind of packaging it together with this game that has kind of seen a rise in popularity lately, that's been featured on like Stranger Things, that now has all these spin-offs of people doing things on YouTube and all this stuff. Like, this thing is blown up, and they come out with a movie and you're like, cool, I have like 8 points of references to come into this movie with. And then Mario, they kind of do the exact same thing, right? Where they're just like labeling all their IP. They're like, we have Donkey Kong, we have got Cranky Kong, we've got the Donkey Kong crew, here's the island, here's like the guys with this stuff. And they're just flexing all of this IP at us. And I guess maybe like Marvel does a similar thing, but it feels like this. Did you feel like this was like an IP drop a little bit? Like, we're showing you all this stuff. This is in our video games. This is what's coming up. I don't know. It felt like, it just felt a little showy and a little, I don't want to say cash grabby, but it's obviously a big money making move for Nintendo to make something like this, get more brand recognition. And then I mean, you got to think some of these kids are leaving and saying, Dad, how do I play Mario? And they move some switches after this, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One of the things, I read an article going into this about how brand recognition is one of the things that motivated this, and the bigger marketing pushes they're doing with Nintendo property right now, where they're partnering with Universal Studios on theme parks, because the brand recognition for Mario and for Nintendo in general is nowhere near as strong as it used to be. I think if I read it right, it said that the M&M's like candy spokespeople are more widely known in the world than Mario, which feels crazy. I mean, I feel like the reason they have gloves and little boots is because of Mario. So
I don't know. How old's Mario? Which came first?
It probably, all that probably goes back to the old, like, Max, whatever his name is, Max Fleischer cartoons from the 30s. But it's one of those things where I think we take for granted how big Mario was for us. And, you know, my childhood was 30 plus years ago. So it's strange. He was only around, when you think about it, he was born in 1990. I think the first Mario game was like 84? So he was only around like 6 years before I was born, but it felt like Mario has just always been there. And
right.
For these kids, it's nowhere near the same. So I kept thinking while we were watching the movie about what the experience would be like for someone who had no exposure to any of these things. And this movie would have felt breathtaking if you'd never seen any of these ideas, if you didn't know who Donkey Kong was, if you'd never heard of the music. We haven't even talked about the music yet. The biggest flex in this entire thing was them being able to use these iconic Mario themes for little stingers that kind of thematically worked for where the themes played in the game. It's like, it would be like if Pedro Pascal opened a door in The Last of Us and like just a beautiful classic iconic song played as the theme for opening the door for 15 seconds. So I think that experience would be completely overwhelming. And I think you're exactly right. I think a lot of kids come out of this and they're like, I gotta play this. I gotta know where this is.
Yeah. Yeah. it also feels like, I feel like we've talked about this before, but it also just feels like that's the way movies are going, you know? Movies are becoming a bigger pain in the ass than ever. You know, they're charging more and more for these tickets, more and more for concessions.
All those fees on Regal Unlimited.
There's fees on Regal Unlimited. I'll tell you what, every time they play that ad at the beginning, they're like, get Regal Unlimited, see unlimited movies. I always make a point of saying there are fees involved, and someone in the theater always goes, yeah, there are. I feel like everyone agreed that, you know, why are they charging me 50 cents? Why are they charging me 50 cents for this a free unlimited movie? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. It's also like $27 a month, right? So why they're like, oh, you got to see like 2 or 3 movies to make up for it. It's crazy. It's silly. It's dumb. They're a pain in the ass. But what can you possibly get people to the theater for to actually want to watch? I mean, was the biggest movie last year was a Top Gun. It was either Avatar or Top Gun Maverick, right? Yeah. Where they're just like huge IP properties, you know, like Everything Everywhere All at Once was like the Oscar winner, and it was still really low on box office. Especially compared to those two. It's all pre-existing IP. It feels like there's just going to be, you know, everything that is a fixture in theaters is going to be pre-existing IP. And then everything else is going to do a week or two and then just move to HBO and then just move to Amazon, you know, just get out of there. I'm honestly surprised how quick movies are in and out of theaters. I don't know if this is like a new thing or a new trend, but I'm like, cool, I want to see this, whatever Jason Statham movie. And then it's there for a couple weeks. Couldn't see it for a couple weeks. And now it's gone. But now it's quote unquote gone. But now it's on Amazon. I can buy it on Amazon instantly. But I don't want to spend $20. So I'm already spending $27 fucking dollars on this Regal Unlimited and another 50 cents every time I get a movie. I mean, I don't know. And for some reason, we keep getting these $5. There's an upcharge for RPX.
Yeah, baby.
Which is crazy.
I'll do it every time. Bad sound is the number one thing that kills a movie for me.
Why don't they all just have good sound? Why doesn't every theater just have good?
They definitely should. It's definitely a situation where it's like you booked a reservation to stay in a hotel and they're like, oh, if you want to book an RPX room that has a bed in it, that's going to be an extra $50 a night. It's like, why didn't the first room have a bed in it?
It does feel like that. I've never paid so much money on top of an unlimited subscription before. It's baffling. How am I still spending $20 a month for a free service?
But dude, a ticket
for a
to
service
one
that I
movie,
paid the year for up front.
One movie ticket is like 19 minimum here. So like an RPX ticket without the subscription is like 24. So it's like we absolutely get. I know I'm just selling you on the pitch that I already did a year ago. We have to be in the minority of people that actually get value back from these subscriptions. Because if you're living in Idaho, you should not do Regal Unlimited.
I mean, whenever we go, all our tickets are like $20. So we are getting a deal on it as much as we go to the movies. But anywhere else, you know, you can still see a movie for now. It's probably like $10 or whatever. But times are a changing, dude.
They are.
As long as Mario's been alive, I've been going to movies, and I just feel like it's worse than ever. Boycott the movies. Let's just wait till they're on HBO. Now, you know what's not even HBO anymore? It's Max.
It's fucking Max.
We're getting fucked from every end, Kevin. Every end. They're coming for us. I just wanted to watch Batgirl. Why couldn't I watch the Batgirl movie? They're fucking us, Kevin.
Brendan Fraser was in that, right? Brendan Fraser was the villain.
Yeah, he was Firefly.
As soon as he won the Oscar, David Zaslav had to be like, fuck.
It's amazing. They had Michael Keaton in it because then now they're protecting this like Flash project, which has like Ezra Miller in it, who's a psychopath. And is he going to be around after? Also, Jonathan Majors dropped his agency dropped him.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. We need like an actual update on what's going on. But
I know
he got dropped. That's a bad sign, I think.
We keep hearing this is what a mess. Tim, I got a question for you that's Mario related.
No, I don't want to talk about Mario. I'm done talking about Mario. Let's just talk about other stuff. Did you see Dominion settling? How much does that suck? We're never getting justice. Anyway, what were you saying
Dominion
about Mario?
is settling? I thought they said they weren't going to settle.
No, Dominion, they're a bunch of liars. Dominion settled for like 800 million, fucking everybody over. When you the one thing I know about lawsuits, if you settle, everyone's settled. You're fucking over everybody. It's a cash grab. Screw you, Dominion. I'm never going to vote on a Dominion machine ever again. I'll tell you what. You know what? I'm going to keep perpetuating the lie that their voting machines are rigged. Maybe they're not rigged. Maybe your votes count, but they're certainly fucking us over by not taking down the entity that corrupted. I don't know. Let's cut all this out. You're going to edit this one. You can cut out this chunk. Kevin, do you have a Mario related take that you want to present on the pod?
I mean, I don't think it's a take.
A question, a query.
Yeah.
Anything to get us back on track.
Yeah. Did you know that canonically in the Mario series,
Jesus.
Mario, Peach, Luigi, Bowser, Toad, etc., all these characters, they are actors putting on a play. So whatever video game you're playing is a play that they're putting on?
No, and I refuse to believe that because this is my reality now. This movie is the new canonical Mario. I refuse to believe that this is a play. These guys aren't actors, even though, you know what would have been great? You remember when like Toy Story and like Pixar used to do those things like where they do clips of like behind the scenes and it would be like Woody flubbing a line. They'd do like bloopers with like the actual animated characters and like somebody would fall over and they'd all laugh and stuff and kind of make it seem like they're actually actors playing themselves in this movie thing. If they start doing that with Mario, you know, and we see a shot of them in the back and they're taking off their mustaches and putting on like normal clothes, I think that could sell me on something. But until then, dude, they are in Brooklyn. If we go to Brooklyn right now, we can find these people. You could call that number. And if they're not there, it's the only it's just because they got sucked into a green tube while trying to save the city from a flood. And they're in Toadland now and they're chilling. And also, it seems like they just went back there.
Yeah.
They turned their back on New York real quick. Like Kevin Durant headed right to Phoenix. Fuck Brooklyn. You know, they're out of there. They got out of Brooklyn as soon as they could, which is good advice to people in Brooklyn in general. You know, let's get out of here. Let's find some mushrooms and just get out of here. Take off. Gosh.
That's the natural trajectory. You live in Brooklyn, you try mushrooms, you leave. Tim, money well spent. This movie had a $100 million budget. It has so far grossed $710 million. It is the highest grossing video game movie of all time already. It's been out for under 2 weeks as of this being recorded. And it was also the highest grossing animated movie premiere of all time.
Wow. That's very exciting. That's very cool. So this is like a moment in history that we'll all look back and tell our kids about. I was there opening weekend, Super Mario movie. I get
Never
it.
forget.
You know, I'm thinking of, what?
We didn't even talk about the fact that 9/11 happened in the Mario universe. I think at the point
did it?
when the bullet bill comes out of the pipe, we all exchange side eye glances at each other because it's like that thing's heading straight for the World Trade Center. And then we cut out and the Freedom Tower is there, which means 9/11 happened in the Mario universe.
Yeah, but it happened in real life. So why wouldn't it happen in the Mario universe?
I don't know. It could have in the Odyssey game where he's throwing his hat. It's not New York City. It's New Donk City. Like, just make it a fake city. Don't show a real life landmark of a. I mean, it's a choice. Like, do it, show it. But by all means, you also got to have Mario saying where he was on 9/11.
Why didn't he do something?
Yeah.
He's a plumber. He's a plumber from New York. What's he going to do? He doesn't even have mushroom powers yet. And even if he did have all these power ups, was he going to throw a fireball at a plane? Like, that's not going to work. So are you saying, let me just get your 9/11 take right.
Yeah.
Are you saying that every piece of media from here on out should pretend that 9/11 didn't happen and have the two Trade Center towers up in the background?
No, I'm saying that you should either make it unclear by not showing anything around Ground Zero, or you should have a scene for each of the main characters in the movie where they say exactly where they were when 9/11 happened.
That's what they should do at the beginning of the movies instead of that thing where they thank you for going to the movies. You know, like Tom Cruise is there. Like, this is, you guys are saving cinema right now. This is, you guys are heroes for coming back. Thank you very much. The Dungeons and Dragon crew's like, thank you so much for seeing this in theaters the way it should be. And then this one opens with just Mario being like 9/11, 2001. The world was forever changed. I know where I was. That day I had a plumbing job with my dad, eating spaghetti, having a good old time. The smell.
Lauren and I have a friend who genuinely cannot remember where he was on 9/11, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever experienced. We were at a bonfire, and all of us, I think everybody our age, it's a pretty common trauma bonding experience to talk about this thing that we tried to grapple with when we were like 10. And
yeah, it's a nice icebreaker.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's the first question on my Hinge profile. It was like, where were you on 9/11? Let's chill. Let's talk about it. And if this leads to something more long term, I'm more than happy to do that. But I know where we're going to start.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, but the answer is school. Everyone was in school.
Yeah. Well, how old do you think Mario and Luigi are?
How old are Mario and Luigi?
Yeah. Because they seem
That's a great question.
Like they're living at home. They seem childish in a way, but also they have full mustaches.
They're mid-20s to late 20s. They're in their 20s, I think.
I can see that. Yeah,
I think the economy's bad. They tried to leave home. Mm-hmm. They're stuck at home. I mean, also the Italian family, you know, it's a tight, you know, unit. So, you know, the kids stay at home a little bit longer, especially in New York, you know, where rent's high. Mm-hmm. It makes sense, man. They're trying to spread their wings, figure it out. They went to trade school. They graduated high school, didn't go to college, went right to trade school, got out, trying to make this plumbing thing happen. They're probably apprentices for a while. And now they're trying to venture out on their own. So, yeah, that easily puts them, you know, 23, 24. But, you know, you can see like the life's been sucked out of their eyes at the beginning. And I think you don't get that broken until you cross 25. So, yeah, I'd guess 26. They're each 26.
Cool.
Right, is one older? One's younger? Are they twins or are they like they're brothers?
I think Mario's the older brother and Luigi's younger.
Yeah. Okay, so they're going to be 27, 26. That's what I'm putting Mario at. How old would you say Mario and Luigi are?
Mario is, you know, perpetually 39 in my eyes.
You know, if I had to guess canon just based on the video games, I would have said 39.
Yeah.
He's not 40. He's 39.
Yeah.
But in this, he's clearly younger.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer. Kevin, I know you liked Mario. Mm-hmm. More or less than Dungeons and Dragons?
Less. Considerably less.
Less. Considerably, yeah, less. Better or worse than Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Oh, worse.
Creed 3. It's not worse than... It's better than Creed 3.
I'll give you I don't know, it's neck and neck for me, but I do think that Creed 3 really shined despite some obvious shortcomings, and I think Mario was safer but more cohesive. So yeah, I'll agree with you there.
I think Mario is just more fun. It's just bright, it's colorful, it's a quick 90. I think I'm gonna end up rewatching Mario before I rewatch Creed 3.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm going to end up watching Mario a lot. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to see this movie way, way too much. Honestly, once it's streaming on Nintendo's own video platform. I
think we're going to get a cinematic universe. I think this is going to end with like a Super Smash Brothers Infinity War, where we're going to get solo movies for all these characters, and then they're all going to cross over. This dude's $710 million within the first 2 weeks. Like, this thing's a juggernaut. Yeah,
I wonder what even a Zelda project would look like. It would be wild.
Oh, give it to Hayao Miyazaki, and we're done. It'll be the most beautiful movie of all time.
how many people would you need to bring in order to get to Smash Bros, right? You got Mario, you got like the whole Mario world.
Yeah.
Then you can do Zelda, and you got all the Zelda crew. And then I feel like Fire Emblem does a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Maybe they could do a Fire Emblem. That seems like a little too serious. You got one-offs like Captain Falcon, but I'm trying to think about what bigger worlds you could tap into there that would get a lot done. I think the obvious one is Pokemon, but
oh fuck,
I think that's going to be tough. I don't know if they do a Pokemon thing.
I don't know if they ever do a sequel to Detective Pikachu. I don't know. We got to wrap this one up.
Let's wrap it up.
Tim, any final thoughts?
Man, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and we all need an escape every once in a while. And I think that's what Mario is. Sitting down to watch Mario is like escaping into one of his green tubes that he loves so much. You know, it takes you to another world where you can live your life, become the man you want to be, and ultimately get your parents to love you again. So I'd highly recommend this movie to anyone who wants to have a strong Italian family, like Mario.
Thank you very much for listening, everybody. This has been Nerdy for 30. Let us know what you think about our takes on this pod. Send us an email, nerdyfor30@gmail.com. That's nerdy spelled out as a word, 4 spelled out as a word, and then the number 30@gmail.com. We'll be back here next week talking about something that I can't remember right now, but we'll find out together. Till then, bye, everybody. Stay nerdy.
Bye. Stay nerdy.
What are we talking about next week? Oh, Renfield. Oh, we got to see Renfield. Fuck.